Welcome back to another Stay Woke podcast. This is DeRa Brinson coming with you, presented by TheSonicBreakdown.com. So we appreciate everybody coming back and listening to another Stay Woke podcast. I'm presented with, we coming with two people today. You know what I'm saying? We trying to branch out and give, have a young Ready.
What's up with you? I'm glad to be back in the studio for a new and a different take, instead of being on just the Marvel and the DC one time.
My man, Ready.
And we got, of course, producer William Wes in the building.
I'm just the producer. I'm just chilling in the background. I'm just chilling in the background. You know what I'm saying? While you, the superstar, getting all the hype, all the ladies.
Nah. So this is again another Stay Woke podcast presented by TheSonicBreakdown.com. If you haven't, please check out TheSonicBreakdown.com for your album reviews as well as podcasts like this. You can check it out on iTunes or TheSonicBreakdown.com. This episode, we're gonna be talking about dating in 2016, as well as taking a look back at history, somewhat our history.
Because man, I'm confused. Things are going on in this world where I feel like I'm not either in the loop or there's just too much going on.
So we're gonna approach this on several
Too
different
much
levels.
going on.
The first level is let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to what we consider our dating history. So for me, I'm gonna bring it back to high school. Because yeah, we dated in middle school, but let's
didn't
be real. The real time was in high school.
Nah, but I want to take it back a little bit before that because
Before what?
Before high school, because I want to talk about like the young crushes, I want to be like back in the day when we used to write the little letters like, hey, do you want to go kick it? Do you want to go play? Do you want to go do stuff with me? Because that's the beginning of a relationship now. I'm talking about like elementary, middle school, bro. When we still writing notes like, hey, can we go kick it after school?
The Bobby Brown tenderoni time.
You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Those were the real ones. Because to me, like, I feel like if we compare that to today, like, those little kids won't have that experience. We had the straight, like, I had to hit you with the sneak message in class to go on a date with you. Now they can just hit them with that, that DM, that text message, that Twitter, that Snapchat. Like, it's hella easy.
All right, let's take it back to that time then.
Let's take it back.
Go ahead. Take it back to that time.
I'm going to say, for me, bringing it back to that time is going back to the cupcake phase.
Yep.
You got to take it back to the phase where when you get back home and it's dark and you're chilling in your room and you're like, damn, I'm really feeling this girl. I love her. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to dedicate this song to her.
The mixtape days.
I'm going to record a bunch of songs off the radio and dedicate it to her, but I'm never going to give it to her.
Exactly. I'm going to hold on to this, and I'm going to use that to inspire what I'm going to say to her.
You going to label it?
I'm going to label it, and I'm going to use that to inspire what I'm going to say to her or how I'm going to interpret the next time I talk to her, the next text I give her.
Yeah.
Text, bro. You jumping again.
I'm jumping. All right.
We didn't have text messages when we were younger.
No. See, okay, let me take it back to the time. Let's take it back to the time where I used to have a bunk bed. I used to have a bunk bed, and I used to turn that thing into a fort, right? I'm putting up the sheets. I got the lights low. Got a flashlight inside my little fort that I made, and I'm really, really thinking about this girl that I'm feeling at school, that I see in the schoolyard, at recess. We could take it back to recess. Lunchtime. That crush. Where, damn, you're thinking to yourself, what am I going to do? The next move I'm going to make.
Hey, all I want to do is just hold her hand. That's it. That's all I want to do is just hold her hand one time. Let me at least get her hand.
Man.
Dang, those were the days, man. That brings you back.
See, I was a wild kid. I'm not going to lie. I was a wild kid. I went to private school. I wanted to lift girls' skirts. I wanted to lift that skirt up.
See, I wasn't there till like middle school, high school. Like in elementary, I was like,
Man.
let's play tetherball, bruh. I don't know if y'all remember the tetherball back in the day.
And see if there's a chemistry.
Right? You feel me? Like if we had a tetherball match that was good.
I ain't gonna lie, I was fast. I was a fast young man. I was like, fuck that. I was like, fuck that tetherball game.
Shit.
I'm gonna try.
He going straight for the kill. He going straight for the kiss.
I'm going straight. I'm going in. I'm going straight for the kids. I'm going straight for the.
He going for the eyes closed.
Yeah, like
in.
the eyes closed. Let's really see what this is talking about. Like,
Yeah. At that age, I wasn't there, bro. I didn't get there till later. I got there later. Like later, I
was a fast young man. I matured quickly.
Okay.
So
we had those crushes. So we had those crushes.
I had the crushes, but I was like, I was at that point. I was on that mixtape and that mixtape vibe. I was like,
I'm the same way.
I'm gonna create a mixtape. I'm gonna give this to you, and it's gonna be like, you ready? You ready to make that next step? And that next step wasn't on let's get in the bed. It was let's kiss, let's hang out, let's talk on the phone
hold hands
all night. Let's hold hands.
Hey, speaking about the phones, y'all, do y'all remember being on the phones and then like you talking all low? Then like the moms or depending if you live with your dads, get on the phone. You like, oh,
get off the phone. Wait, what you doing on the phone all night? Yes, I remember that.
This is the home phone.
Yes,
the home phone
where
with the cord.
It was like this. Like you said, it was I'm under the blankets with the pillow over the blankets over my head, saying, "Okay, what you doing? What you doing?" Not that I'm talking to you. Okay, so
it's a whole bunch of nonsense back and forth.
Yeah, nonsense
right?
back and forth. It's like, hold on for a second. I think my mom's getting up. 1 second. Hold on. I'm gonna put the phone down, but I'm not hanging up. You gotta preface that, because if you didn't, it was like, oh, I think they hung up, so I'm gonna redial. But it's like, if I call back,
it's a
I
problem.
Can't call back because the phone's on ringer.
It's a problem.
So it's like you gotta coordinate.
And it's already late.
It's
already
you gotta
late.
coordinate. It's like, all right, hold on, I'm gonna call you right back.
But you better catch that shit.
Yeah, you
mid ring.
Yeah, you call me back. You call me back. Hold on, I'm gonna go in my mom's room, turn off her phone so the ringer don't go off. So hold on 1 second. MacGyver this motherfucker. So I'm going in my mom's room, taking the phone cord out of her phone. So when you call back,
it's okay.
There's no ringer in her room. I only hear it, and I'm muffling it with a pillow, so I only hear it in this one ring. It's boom. I pick up.
But see, the thing I used to love about back in them days,
and that was when I had my football phone. You know what I'm saying?
The football
phone
with them big ass numbers on it.
Yeah.
With the big ass numbers.
Hey, but no, the thing I loved about back then that made it all so much sweet is the actual getting of the number. Do y'all remember, like, if you didn't have paper, it was a straight hand thing, and it was like, that's when we had to memorize those numbers, so you had to make sure, like, if she wrote it on your hand, you didn't sweat, you didn't dap nobody up or nothing.
My memory game was on point. Like, my memory, I was like, and that's how that was part of my game. I ain't gonna lie.
You have the memory.
I'd be like this. I'd be like, oh no, I don't need no phone. You don't gotta
no
write it on my
paper.
hand.
I don't need no pen and paper.
I got it. What is it? And she would say it,
and you were done.
and I was done. Like,
That's
I would
what's
say
up.
it, and for me, the way I remembered it on some real shit. I didn't tell them this, but this is some game. I would put it to
talk to them
to players' numbers on jersey numbers.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, I'll be like, she'd be like, it was easy, 510. Whatever, the area code was easy because you knew it. Like, the area code, I was like, that's a given. She'd be like 239, 5472. Okay, I'd be like, all right, Jordan's 23. Jordan is the first number. That's given.
That's complex right there, man. That's complex.
That's hard, bro. That was too much for me, bro.
For me, it was just the numbers, and I would remember the numbers of jerseys, and I'll say, break it down by jerseys. All right, I got it. I would go home, and I knew it based on the jersey numbers.
See, I didn't have it like that, bro. The minute she wrote it on my hand, I was that guy that immediately going to get that paper like, oh, I ain't fucking this up. I'm making sure it's done. So by the time I can get home, I was like, I can still read it. It's still ready. And then me, I was that dude. I was waiting like, okay, mom's look like she going to the room. All right. I know she's gonna be out in about 30 minutes. Okay. The minute I think she has the
Timing
light
right.
is turned off, hit that number and be like, and you gotta listen because when you originally call, you don't know who's gonna pick up the phone.
Nope.
So you can't say who you are.
It's
you
a
can't be like,
mystery.
can I speak to Emily and then it'll be somebody's mom? She just sit there and wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. My game with the parents was on point.
I hate you.
Cause I'm gonna be
I
real.
hate you.
Cause it was
I froze up.
because
Yeah,
no,
what's up?
froze
not
up.
me. Because
Got
it
quiet
was
as hell.
because it was. I want to say thank you, Grandma. I'm not gonna put Grandma's name out, but she knows who she is. I love her to death.
Sugar.
Grandma knows. Grandma is the one that gave me. She gave me my game. So I appreciate you, Grandma. So like when I called, it was like it would be like this. Parents pick up. I'd be like, "Oh, hi, sir. How are you doing today?" You know what I'm saying? "Oh, how was work?" Because I was a listener, so I already knew what he did. I knew what he did. If he was a banker, if he was an accountant, if he was a doctor, whatever it is, I knew what he did. So if he's a construction worker, I'd be like, "Oh, yeah. So how's that job doing? You know, on 54th and 7th, because you putting in
This
the
boy had it
drywall.
down to a math.
You putting that drywall in." Yeah, I don't know much about drywall. Can you tell me about it? I was
Oh
interested in
hell
it.
no! You playing
You know what I'm
games.
saying?
That's too
and
much
then,
work.
nah, you gotta put in
That's
that
too much
work,
work.
because by the time I go to their house, that game's already put in. I sold that work.
Oh,
So when I get to the house, he's like, "I like this guy. I like this guy because he knows what I do and he respects it."
So you already had a different plan to me because I wasn't meeting
Man.
you at the house. We were meeting somewhere else.
No,
like
see,
I wasn't
man.
trying to go to the house.
See, I had the long-term game. I thought 50 moves ahead. I was like, if whoever answered that phone.
How did you know this?
Yeah, like we kids. This is not even like middle school, high school. Like I didn't have that complexity.
did you
I'm
know
telling
this?
you,
I wasn't that complicated. It was still
What movies were you watching?
the wrong ones.
Brooklyn Tales.
God damn.
Brooklyn Tales. Remember what he said. Remember when he said, if she opens the door
Al
for
Pacino?
you, if she leans over and
Damn.
opens the door for you,
She's a
she's
keeper.
a keeper.
Oh damn.
You know what I'm saying? That stuck with me, and I was like, so I got to think the long-term game of I got to see what she's doing before she does it. So for me, in middle school, high school, in elementary, it was, let me watch, let me observe. I've always been very observant. It was, all right, she reads this book. She likes Little Red Riding Hood. She's picking that book for a reason. She picks that book every time she comes into kindergarten. Every time she's picking the same fucking book.
Did this fool just say kindergarten? He was already peeping game when we were still learning ABCs. He was ready from birth. Like he
You know what I'm
came
saying?
out like I'm getting them draws. Like
Damn.
this is the boy. I'm with
I
it.
quit.
DeRa
I quit.
Brinson is ready for the game, man.
This
I was gonna say, like
This
that,
is why I rock with you.
But that's
'Cause I
how
learned
I
a lot
saw
from
it.
you.
It was the long term game. Is like, all right, I'm gonna observe, because being an introvert, that's you see things before you react. Like you want to observe, you want to play the field, you want to see how people react. And so it was always, I remember fucking, like I said, in middle school, Grant Middle School, Raylene Adams. I'm gonna put her
Call
name
out
out there.
names.
I'm gonna put her name
Damn, he
out there.
putting the
She
names
knows who
out.
she is. She knows who she is. But I'm gonna put it out. Like, I would observe and be like,
Great White
she
Buffalo.
likes this. She does this. She goes this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna peep this game and understand how she thinks. So when I approach her, I can hit her with things that she's interested in. And that's how I play my game.
See,
So I observed what their parents did, what she talked about, where she went, like not on some stalker shit, but like on some like just being observant. If I'm in the hallway and
On
I
some
see
mathematical shit.
her cut to this way, I'm like, oh, she's going that way for a reason. She's going her class is that way for whatever it is, home ec, whatever. And I'm gonna play that, and I'm gonna remember key details, because I had a good memory of making connections between two things. You know what I'm saying? And I always tell like my brother is like, I see the patterns, one, and I see the result. I'm seeing what got you to that result. Your overall goal was to get you here. So I'm gonna focus on that. What is the steps that got you there? That's how I played the game.
See, me and your game is completely different because my game back in like elementary school was the guy that you always just wanted to play with. Like I was the guy like when we were like you were talking about recess. I was the guy that's like, hey, the minute we go out there, let's get on the soccer, da da da. Where I got to the point because I was too shy to ask females out back in the day. So I always got it where it would be some random. We'd be in the middle of tetherball, or tag, or Red Rover. Y'all remember those games back in the day. And then I would get
Red Rover.
I would get that straight up like, hey, Rashad, you cute. What are you doing? Then I would get asked out by the female. I made sure through elementary school, I didn't have to ask them out because they would come for me. Like, I had this little girl back in the day. I'm not going to call her out like DeRa is, but 5th grade, this chick, I was crushing on her so hard, bro. Like, I made sure I got into her reading group just so I could be next to her. She was like a better reader. I started reading and paying attention just so I could get at that. You feel me? Like... lightweight stalker, but it was some cute stalker-ish, man. Like, it came out of nowhere, and then we started chilling hella more. And that's how I got my tetherball game up because I had to see if she was worthy. She came on that tetherball court, and she knew what to do.
Yes. Same here. It was all about meeting that person physically, but in a playful way, being out at recess, at lunch, playing a game, playing kickball, playing, you name it. What else were we playing out? Tetherball.
Everything.
Tetherball was number one.
Hey, that's when we could actually play dodgeball back in the day.
Kickball, man. I was a kickball king, bruh.
No, wait, hold up. Swings, slides.
Hey, the jungle gym.
Yes,
Hey,
I was there. I was looking up.
I was always a gentleman when
I
it
was
came
looking up.
to the merry-go-round. I'll be like, you know what? You get on the merry-go-round. I'll push you. You know what I'm saying? I was a gentleman. My game was a long-term game. My game was a psychological game. I was like, you know what? I like being on the merry-go-round, but fuck it. I'm gonna sacrifice my turn. I'm gonna let you get on. I'll push you.
Things like that, though, nowadays
don't happen.
You get thrown into the friend zone.
Real talk, like
you start sacrificing yourself. You start putting yourself.
Can I shoot
aside.
it up a couple years real quick?
Let's move it up now.
Okay, so
let's move it up now.
I want to shoot up to when I caught my swag. I'm just gonna be real.
And my game evolved so that I wouldn't get put in the friend zone.
Right. So, bro, I'm gonna be real. Like,
player.
I didn't really catch my that relationship swag till like sophomore year. I don't know what it was. Freshman year came back, actually had some, peach fuzz, got a little bit taller, a little bass in the voice, and I know, I had that swag. I was dripping, bro. That's when I was getting the females. Like I was in track, I was in swimming, I was in band, and I was getting a 4.0. So your boy was like, I look good, like in all aspects. So, bro, that's when my game really developed. Where I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I was the one that I was a targeted getter. So like me and my friends, there's this chick, I will call her out, Messiah. And we all used to call her the Messiah.
Put names out. I ain't putting no names out.
I'm gonna put that name out there. I'm gonna put that out, the Messiah. That's what we called her because the name was Messiah. Name. This was like that untouchable, bro. I remember the beginning of my sophomore year, I was like, bruh, I promise you by the end of next year, I'm gonna have that. Everybody in my school was like, no, bro, it's impossible. She doesn't mess with nobody, bruh. By the end of that year, I had her ask me after prom.
Game over.
That's how you do it.
Now that we fast forward, when it came to
let's summarize.
high school game, that was more of taking the time to make the calls.
Yep.
The long nights of having long conversations on the phone.
Corny shit.
Doing whatever you gotta do.
Right.
But basically,
playing the game.
And my approach in that at that point was really listening. Is really listening. And I felt the more you listen, the better it was. The less you talk, the more you listen. But you also had to be an active listener, not just hearing what they said, because you had to participate in the conversation. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that, to me, has been the most beneficial evolution in my game into adulthood. Because to me, to be an effective boyfriend in a relationship nowadays, you have to be an effective listener. Because there are times where you are just women just at times want you just to listen, want to vent. And to me, as a result solution oriented guy, that's how my mind works.
Yeah, try not to fix it.
If somebody comes to me, if they bitch to me about something, I'm thinking they're bitching to me because they want a solution.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give them a solution. That's just how my mind works. Is like I don't worry about the problem. I worry about the solution.
I feel that, man.
And so when somebody comes to me with that, but you have to learn that some women just want to vent. And they don't want a solution because they know the solution, but you can't you have to let them vent. And so that was the biggest growth that I took from high school, is allowing them to vent and giving the solution when they wanted it versus when they didn't want it. Because a lot of times, if you give a solution and they know it, they feel like you're belittling them, which is accurate because they know they have the solution, and you're giving them a solution they already have. It's like you're not adding anything, and so you have to learn that balance.
Okay.
That's what I learned, anyways.
You hear that? You hear that? That's gay. That's gay.
Nah, but see, y'all were talking earlier about the music game. Like, I didn't have it in elementary school. That in high school, that's when I was really getting the music game. When Genuine came out and freaking Pretty Ricky, I was on the phone, and when it came on the radio, oh babe, this song reminds me of you, and put it right next to that radio, and it'd be something like
L Cool J.
You know what I'm saying? My Lady. You know what I'm saying? Something that just made them like, oh my God, this is so
112.
sweet.
Now my music game was always on point. I ain't gonna lie.
Genuine. Keith Sweat.
Jodeci,
Keith Sweat,
Donnell
oh my God.
Jones, D'Angelo,
Danielle Jones.
Ain't no-
Maxwell.
Y'all can't forget about Sammy, the little soft Sammy back in the day.
Sammy, Joe,
Sammy Joe.
Yup. Oh my God, Joe. used
New
to put it
Edition,
on.
Boys to Men.
Oh,
The list can
man.
go on and on.
Drew Hill.
Drew Hill. Oh my God, bro. Come on down. Come on now. You remember these? These were the ones
John
you played
B.
a couple times and you knew you were gonna get it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God, 112. 112 anywhere. Oh my God, you should give me so much. Ah, good days.
Now that you kind of gotten the intro of what we're talking about, where things were at a long time ago. This is a long time ago. Where we at right now, man? Where we at right now with where our mind is at, where the technology is at, and overall, where are we going when it comes to approaching a female, approaching a date, getting that first date, leading into a relationship, and so forth. Something that's really concrete and real.
Bruh,
Where we at right now?
Now it's so easy. Like, I mean, think about all these dating apps. You got like there's Plenty of Fish. You got Tinder. You got Black Book. You literally Bumble. At the touch of your finger, you can literally see if you want to date someone or not, bruh. Like, that's why I say like now this culture is so much easier. It's all instant gratification.
But I will say, in regards to that though, it's all superficial though.
Yeah. But most of them ain't looking for a real relationship either.
That so it I want to say somewhat cheapens dating in essence, because I feel like the time that you used to put into dating, yeah, of course it was all based on the physical, because you approached a woman based on how she looked. You didn't know what she was about. You know what I'm saying? But the time that you had to put in order to achieve some level of relationship, you had to get to know them to a certain extent. And now I don't feel like you have to do as much.
I mean, I think that's more of our skewed viewpoint, because we remember growing up having to actually have a real conversation because we couldn't be on our phones all the time. We grew up on a time period like I remember having to say, hey, let me call you after 9 because that's when my minutes are free. Like now we know in general, like I could talk to you all day, all the time on one of many multiple platforms if I have a phone or not. I can literally see you all day and talk to you all day on Skype, Facebook. So it's everything's easier now, even with long distance relationships. And even when you do start a real relationship, even hooking up, literally this apps just to say, do you want to fuck? And the answer is either go right for yes, left for no.
It's yes or no, right?
Right?
There's
But that's
no
my
in
point
between.
is, you're saying that you're skipping a point though. You're skipping a section that you had to do before
The actual learning who she was.
of learning who they are. That's what I mean.
agree.
So you're missing an emotional connection, which takes away from the physical connection. Like to me, like the emotional connection adds to the physical connection, and in the best way I can explain it is when I was more immature, that would make the statement I just made would make less sense. Because to me, it's like, oh, the physical is less if you don't have the emotional. Like, fuck that. I just need the physical. But when you realize that understanding a person and having them understand you and completely accept you for who you are adds to the physical, you don't understand until you become in a relationship where you have that.
So then, Ken, let me propose a question to you. What do you think around all these, we will say, when long distance relationships in the capacity where like there was a good example I saw earlier where this dude lived in Canada, this female lived in California. They were dating for 4.5 years, never saw each other besides Skype and Facebook. So what do you think about the evolution of those kind of relationships?
But the fact is that they've been in the relationship for 4 years without having a physical connection, so they built a emotional connection.
But don't you think you're missing the strong aspects of what it means to be physical? Because in a lot of these relationships, we've seen what has destroyed a relationship can actually be the physical because we are not compatible. I'm not feeling what you're doing, et cetera, et cetera.
No, I agree, but that's why, like I say with everything, there's nothing in life that works without a balance. And that's why you have to have a balance in everything. Like nothing in life works without a balance. And you have to have a balance between that emotional and that physical. And so that's why I think you need both. And that's why I tend to lean more to the old school ways because it allows you to have both.
So then let me ask a question to the single people here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to call anybody out or ask anybody to specifically talk, but how do you find the one in a culture that has developed into the one right now? So basically the one you want to have sex with, just have this little quickie relationship as compared to I want something real with this chick. I want something that could potentially blossom to marriage. How do you find that one when everybody's just about getting that quick fix?
Man. And that's why we're talking about this whole subject in the first place. Where do you find yourself? And I believe in nowadays, just like what you was talking about, DeRa, it's about balance. You got to take the origin of the old school you, and the old school me was all about getting to know somebody first. You got to get to know somebody first. But the balance is you got to be smart enough to know that this technology can help you to your benefit to find that person for you quicker and kind of filter out through all the BS or filter out through all the garbage.
Right. I mean, I can get that, but like, to me, like...
Does that make sense?
No, it does, but like the thing I keep seeing is just, I've seen like a lot of single friends struggling to like really even see that difference. I'm trying to make this emotional connection with her, but then you later find out maybe after the second date that she never had any intention of that. It was all about just getting hers, either through eating that food. Because I've heard females say that,
Yeah.
I went through the date because he was gonna feed me. So like you're just getting
That is
used.
true. That is true. Man, go ahead and put your input, man. And I'll feed off of it.
That's why I say there's somewhat of a downside to it. Is because I feel like it allows...
Is everybody getting their own?
That's what I believe.
At the end of the day, is everybody getting their selves?
That's what I believe, is that it's creating an atmosphere or an environment where it allows females and males to have that more environment to spur or to propel that feeling of getting their own. And if you don't have
Everybody's independent.
yeah, if you don't have something that's innately pushing you to find somebody that's long lasting, it goes back to the idea of taking the path of least resistance.
What's easier?
And it would always be easier to find somebody that's made for right now versus made for right. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're creating an environment that makes it easier for right now,
You're gonna
why
find right
would you
now.
choose the path of higher resistance of right that's right for you long term than right now? And that's my somewhat fear in the way that things are going. If we don't, again, make a balance or create a balance or find a way to make that balance. Because I mean, yeah, it's all fun and dandy, but I believe if you can find somebody that creates an environment or creates the ability for you to feel accepted for who you are, supports you for who you are, and propels you to be a better person, and you can do the same for that person, that's more worthwhile than just having something that's right for right now.
Yeah, but see, I agree with literally everything you said, but like I feel with that concept, for people to understand the real differences, you gotta have it in some capacity. Because I know for myself, when I was on the right now tip always felt right. But then when I finally got into like an actual relationship where like like you said, she's rocking for me and I'm rocking for her. She helped me get a better job. I've helped her get a better job. We're making and helping each other to move up.
Yeah, that mutual life, that mutual back and forth giving.
Yeah, but I didn't realize what that was until I got it. So it's like beforehand when I was on the single tip, that was the life. I was like, I got a different one. I'm always having some new. I'm always going from thing to thing. You know, I never get tied down with the emotional shit.
Yeah.
But you don't get how important the emotional shit is until it happens. But then you may not be ready for it. And people, you know, do that like, you know, I will say, I don't want to call it accidental cheating, but you know, you know, that cheating because you really weren't ready for that relationship.
But would you say that you were more likely to do or end up in the relationship you are in now than let's say the beginning of your relationship with your significant other now
Right.
started right now versus started when it started? Do you think you would be at the same place you are in the same time period that you, let's say, whatever the time period you've been with your person now, right?
Okay. So I'll just give a number, 3 years.
Let's say 3 years. Let's say that relationship started right now.
Okay.
3 years from now, would you think you would still be at that point based on how things are going with relationships in society?
Yeah, if I start right now, how I would be now, I don't think so.
I don't think you would be there.
I honestly think I'll be at a, you know, even slower pace because I'm not a fast-paced person when it comes to relationships.
And that's what I'm saying is my fear of the trend that this type of dating society is going to cause.
It's going to push it even further.
Yeah, because and the it would make sense if part of the if you boil everything down to the most simplistic form, relationships are born out of procreation. That's the whole point of it.
True.
It's to further the race, further the culture, further the species. Women's biological clock is not progressively longer in comparison to the way that we're pushing relationships back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, in essence, we're hurting the propagation or the continuation of the species if we continue in the manner that it's projecting. Because if you're pushing relationships back further and further, as in the point of getting to the point of propagation or committed relationships.
But wait, I gotta pause you real quick because if we're talking about just having kids, we ain't in no shortage on that right now.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying about having sex, but I'm
Okay.
having about having
Meaningful.
meaningful,
Okay, yeah.
purposeful, not accidental forms of procreation.
Okay, yeah. Then yeah. That's I 100% agree. Yeah. I wasn't thinking like that. Yeah, the purposeful, like I want to make a baby with you.
Yes.
I love you to that level where I want to be with you on a higher level. I get you.
And that's where my fear comes into that aspect. But I believe with everything and anything that whenever the pendulum swings too far to one side, there's a way of balancing it out that's going to make it swing to the other. So I think we'll eventually get to the point where it's going to start to swing to the other side. And as far as we know, there isn't any long-lasting effects of what is happening so far. But I would like to see...
We're not seeing it yet? Or we're not feeling it yet? Or?
I don't think we're feeling it yet.
Okay.
Because the population is steadily growing at a rate where it's likely that we're going to reach the Earth's capacity to sustain life. So it might be nature's way of forcing us to get to a point where we balance it out so that we can get back to the point where the Earth can sustain the capacity of our species. Again, that's on another tangent. That's maybe too deep for this podcast right now, because that's very science heavy. But I do want to go to the third phase of this podcast of somewhat of a pseudo experiment.
Okay.
Where we have our guinea pig / producer.
I'll be your guinea pig, man. Just say it. I'll be your guinea pig.
Do a test of dating sites and seeing the success, the potentials, the risks, the benefits, the outcomes that he has faced or he is going to face or that he will face as a result of it, and if he thinks it's beneficial or a detriment to the dating culture.
I'm going to do it, and then we're going to report back again on a new episode of the podcast. Overall, what I want to find out is where the direction of finding that next person that Mrs. Right in a society now that is going into right now, like you was talking about. Like I want to see where we go into and how that is actually going to happen, because I'm skeptical about it. You know why? Because I'm just stuck in my old ways. Like the way that people are finding each other now or seeking to find each other now, I really don't feel that that's like real or it's actually going to last, or if it's legit at the end of the day.
See,
because
I love this because I feel like right now we're seeing the beginning of your relationship. Like I feel like we're gonna hit that, and then I have faith in you, bro. I want to let you know, but I feel like next time we have this conversation, you'll be like, "Yeah, bro, I found the one on Plenty of Fish, bro. I'm just telling you, bro. It's been the best thing I've ever had."
At the end of the day, that's the point of this whole podcast, and at the point of this whole experiment. I actually, on my end, I'm skeptical about it, and I really feel that it's not gonna happen. But because me personally, I've never used an app.
But bro, see
I've never gone out of my comfort zone to actually connect with somebody.
But you're already coming in with the wrong mindset, though. You're coming in with the negative mindset that it's not gonna happen. And you know how they say with the universe, when you put something like that in the air, not only the way you act, the way you perceive, and the way you your vibe that comes off is that vibe. Okay. So you got to come up with that, like the open mind, like it's possible.
Refresh.
Well, I want to start over.
Refresh.
I want to pause that idea for a second and say, let's go back and say, what are your qualifications? What are you looking for?
Just in
what
case
is
there's any ladies out there looking
exactly
for somebody out
so
here.
that we can set this scene so that when we do check up and we do come back, we can see if this woman matches what you initially. Because again,
What you asking? Go
we're
ahead.
all
Go ahead.
evolved.
What are you
We're all
asking?
gonna change. We're all gonna want things now that will change to be something else later. What are you asking for in the woman that you would want to date long term now?
Love it.
And that's a tough question. So
That is a tough question.
But just like if you had to pick
Overall-
your top like 3 to 5 qualities,
yeah,
bruh.
Overall, I'm looking for somebody that is going to empower me.
One,
At the same time, I'm gonna throw that same energy back at you.
bruh.
Um, second of all, she gotta be a bad one.
I love it. Real
She
talk
got-
though.
She gotta be a bad one.
Now, okay, but
but-
question with that though, the bad one, are we talking about like 9, 10 bad, or we talking about like 7, 8, like she bad?
above 7, bad.
7 and up.
Okay, okay.
7 and up, like the
Okay.
drink. You know what I'm saying? Like
Is there any age requirements?
That's a real one.
age requirements, just like the app does, right? The app kind of puts you
Yeah.
into a little box, right?
I mean, 'cause think about it. You do want you know that gap. Some people got. I don't want 5 years younger than me, 5 years older than me. Just that number range.
I would say, man, because I'm not a picky person, but at the same time, you can't be too young. First of all, you can't be too young.
Okay,
I
so
don't want to get
then
in
what's
trouble.
too young then?
I'll give a healthy, good range of 5 years.
Okay.
5 years minimum younger than me.
All right.
But you can't be 5 years older than me.
Why not?
My limit is my same age. Am I a picky dude?
I mean, I can
looking
only
at me,
use
Chris?
myself, Brand. I've always had the best relationship with females that were older than me.
I'm gonna be real.
Back in the no,
the
but
same thing for me is older. My experience. Let me preface this by younger. They tend to be more free, more open, but at the same time, they will also be less focused, less mature, and less supportive. Versus the older tend to be more supportive because they understand what they want and they're willing to only accept what they want. And they know what they want. And that is more, to me, has been more refreshing is because there's no ambiguity. It's like, this is what I want, this is what I accept. Either you got it or you don't.
for the purpose of this podcast, I created a Tinder account.
I see you.
Okay. My
Thanks,
age.
Will, for stepping up and being the guinea pig for this.
Yes.
We kind of forced you into it, so you can blame us.
It's none of y'all for reasons unknown. But I'm in the range of younger than me, starting off at 25. And then at the... You know what? Let me change that real quick.
How's he doing it right now on the show? I love this.
This is live right
I
now.
love this right
All
now.
right, so starting off younger than me, your age limit 23 and up.
Okay.
Okay, he
23 and up.
expanded.
Yeah.
23 and up. And then when it comes to the age range, either my age range or higher, it's going to be the same age range. So I'll put it out there. I'm 31. So at the age range, it's 31. 23 to 31 is what I'm looking for.
So she's 32. She's
You got to be the same age as me or a little bit younger than me.
What about for like 1 year, like 32? Did that disqualify her?
That doesn't disqualify me.
Okay.
Now, at the end of the day, this is what I'm looking for.
All right. So that's 3 solid ones.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I got to be physically attracted to you.
Yeah.
And I've dated all kinds of ranges. I'm not really picky on that, as long as you beautiful to the eyes to me.
Now, can I ask one question that
Uh-huh.
make it your number?
Eyes in the beauty of the beholder, by the way.
Yep.
Real talk.
That's why I just say you gotta be just beautiful to me.
What about the career ambitions, the
Yep.
money aspect?
Yep. At the age that I'm at right now, it's all about you are on your A game, on your goal orientated. you're on your way, you're on your path, and you got some type of structure in your life, right?
What happens if
You throwing a bunch of questions at me,
Yeah, because-
like you a jury.
because you said your age range is what, 23?
Yeah.
There's a lot of 23-year-olds out there that are, let's say, waiters, waitresses,
Best Buys, KFCs.
what's your stance on that?
That's actually a good question.
Because I'm just throwing this out there because I've had conversations with people, specifically people at my job, that have said things of the nature of even throwing out specific statistics of saying if a guy made 50,000 or less, he's out of my category. Like regardless of his ambition, regardless of anything else, $50,000 and below, I will not date him. I will not see him as a candidate for a relationship, things of that nature.
Go
so
digging.
that's why
Go
I,
digging.
I point that out to you. Is that a because for me,
Not my style. You know what it is? Let me make it really clear when it comes to bare bones. When I look for a relationship, I look for a relationship to have a relationship with that person, being person to person. It don't matter where you work at. It don't matter if you're taking the bus to work. It don't matter a whole bunch of things. I don't care if you're living in the hood. You're still living with your mama. I don't look at that.
I share those same sensibilities as well.
Because
it's about the person.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, I really look at the person one-on-one. If I'm rocking with you, you're rocking with me. If you have my back, I got your back. If you're doing your thing, you're growing, you're working hard, you're hustling, you're trying to get out of your situation, whatever it may be. I don't care. Like really, at the end of the day, I don't care about that because all of my situations that I've ever been with has always been a one-on-one situation where I just care about you and that person itself. But now that we're at a certain age, certain things are very, very important though. You know what I'm saying? You can't be stuck in your situation. You got to be all about growing and moving on to the next step. That's important to me.
That progression in life.
Progression in life in general. And
love
however you're getting there, whatever you're doing, it don't matter what you're doing. But as long as you're all about progression in life, I'm about that.
It doesn't matter where you're at. It's a matter where you're trying to go.
Because I've been about that. I've been about that at a young age. I'm all about progression in life. I don't like being stuck in one place. So I want to share that same view with you. Now, going back to your question about, what happens if this person is 23 years old and they working at Jack in the Box. I'm going to get you out of that Jack in the Box. I'm going to help you.
Trying to progress.
I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you.
And push them, but just like you would hope that they push you to be better than you are.
At the end of the day, that's what I'm looking for.
Gotcha.
And
And I respect that because not everybody shares that same sensibility, that same view, the same perspective. And that to me is admirable because at the end of the day, you're not always able to be in a better position than you are. But as long as you're trying to be in a better position than you are. Because in a lot of people's cases, all it is about an opportunity to do better. And if they get that opportunity, they will do better.
That chance.
But they don't get that opportunity.
And trust me.
And if you have somebody that's supporting you, that helps you feel that confidence to take that opportunity because you have that, not necessarily a safety blanket or a safety net, but it gives you room to expand upon beyond what you normally would be able to have the freedom to expand upon.
And I like to say that quality right there of having somebody that can grow with you, to me is one of the biggest qualities. Like I know in my relationship, my girl helped me get a better job, like making more money. And then I did the same thing back to her where we saw the way we can help each other rise in ways where I wasn't trying to change her or she was trying to change me. It was we were trying to change together and enhance both of our individually to be better as
That's
a whole.
the key word, though. It's enhanced. And you're not changing somebody. You're not making somebody you're not belittling somebody and saying that that where they're at is horrible or whatever it may be, but you are enhancing and you're working together to progress.
Yeah.
You see the potential that they have and want to expand upon that
Yeah.
potential. And is, but to me, the key in that perspective is that they have to see the potential in themselves.
Yeah.
Because if they don't see the potential in themselves and they don't want to do better, regardless of how much you want them to do better, they
It's not
won't.
gonna do nothing.
And so that to me is the most important aspect for me and a person that I'm dating or that I'm trying to be with, is that they see the potential in themselves. They see the potential that I see them in themselves. They just need the opportunity and the freedom to expand on that potential. Just like taking it in my perspective is, I believe I have way more potential than I'm in the position to exude. And the person that is going to be with me or has the ability that I would want to be with me will see that same potential in me and help me build on that potential. Just like I would want to build on the potential that they have. And we both grow together to create the best potential that we both can have. Because at the end of the day, you want somebody that accepts you, but pushes you.
Straight up. And
And
I say my point of view with confidence because I've actually helped people move from where they're at to the next step in life, and I helped them progress with no reward, with no recognition, with no, you
the
ain't
goodness
got
for being good. That's all.
you ain't got to give me props. I've been in the situation where I've brought a female to where they're at and taken them to the next step and asked nothing in return. So my confidence is there. I can put somebody on my shoulders and I can take them to where they need to be at because I myself am taking everything with me in general. That's just how I work naturally. Now let's see if we can make this happen with this app world that we're living in.
And
Wish
that
you
will
luck,
be
bruh.
and that will be the true test, because that will, as I know, Will's a good dude, man. Like on some real shit, he's a good dude. He's a good man. He's a good dude, and he has positive intentions, positive vibes, and that should be rewarded. Let's see if Tinder, Plenty of Fish, whatever we decide we gonna have him expand upon, will reward that as much as. Because my other fear with these apps is that it's rewarding materialistic things, because most of it is being based on materialistic things. Because if it's based on photos and what photos you can put up, if you can put up a photo with
You
you with
are-
a nice car, nice house,
Yeah.
a nice job, like you're making, photos that give off this perception
Catfish.
that you're doing better or as well as you are, let's say. Does that make you a better man than somebody that's... I just read about this guy that died at, I think it was 100, and he's saved millions of people's lives. 40,000 nurses he's helped create, 50,000 adopted kids, things of that nature. And is his life less valuable, or would he be a less desirable mate than, let's say, a Mark Zuckerberg who's making millions and millions of dollars? I'm not saying Mark Zuckerberg is worse than this other guy, because he does a lot of charitable things as well, but because one has money and one doesn't, does that make him less valuable as a mate?
But at the end of the day, everything has its taste. Everybody has their taste.
Exactly.
And
And
that's what's being catered.
And that's what I'm worried about, is that the format that things are being catered to now is being catered towards the more materialistic aspect versus than the more spiritual and
Yeah.
emotional aspect.
And what I'm being
But
thrown
it doesn't
into
mean that it is. I don't know. That's what we're hoping to find out.
and what I'm being thrown into right now is a lion's den in itself, man, because the age that we are in and the reason why these apps do exist, these websites do exist, is because it's a social experiment where, okay, if somebody looks good in the picture, that first impression, that quote unquote image that we are creating of yourself personally, that's what's going to cause that first attraction.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
And
because I have the control of creating an image right now. I can create an image where I love puppies.
But to be fair,
I got a suit on. I can take a picture right next to a Ferrari and say it's mine.
But to be fair, you could do that.
Who do I capture?
You could do that before to a certain extent. You could put on a suit, rent a Ferrari, and sit in a place that's highly populated and pick up chicks without the application. So I want to give the applications and the different programs. Again, I want to keep it fair and balanced.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that wasn't possible before, but it just seems like these applications make it easier to create those facades. And we know with everything, especially facades, if you're with somebody long enough, somebody will see through those facades.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, this is the part where I have to disagree, because I was listening to y'all when we were talking about the facades and the online profiles. If you ever watch some of these shows, the ones that are kind of real and that have the real aspects around the actual concept of catfishing, CNN has done articles, National Geographic has done honest and legitimate articles, not like to show catfish. We know a lot of that is fake. Mm-hmm. But there are times where people are going through 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and longer years not understanding the person they're talking to through their social media account is not a real person, or it's a person that has a complete facade that you're not able to see, because with these social media in general, has made the world a lot smaller. But where it seems like you can do everything through the internet, when you have to know at a certain point you have to meet people.
But this is what I was saying is the same things. Catfish is not new.
I agree.
That's a false ideology, because even before this point, people could do the same thing with talking on the phone over multiple years and making up excuses upon excuses of why we can never meet.
And it happened.
And so, but I'm just saying, so that's nothing new. The only difference is making it more accessible than it was before. So my point again is going back to the fact that it was happening before, it's happening at a higher rate now, yes. But does that mean that there isn't value in or the ability to garner positive relationships out of the same process?
No, I definitely think you can. I definitely think you can.
So that's my question that I'm posing, and that hopefully we can find out through this pseudo experiment.
I think with Will, he's gonna come in a more positive light than a lot of the people that use kinds of accounts. He's not coming just for the quick bone and groan and smash and dash.
Well, we don't know.
But just from what I've seen, he's trying to find some real. So if he can weed out
just to get the app started, I might have to. Just to get the groove of this.
Just at least get one or two. But no, I see you. If you use it in that light, bro, I see the potential if you can weed out the fakes from the reals.
Another thing I would like to mention is that the world around me, it seems like it actually is possible to find that one, or actually people are actually having success. There's marriages coming out of all of this. There's relationships coming out of this, straight out of an app.
We about to get him on that eHarmony. He can be on the commercial.
You know what I'm saying? I got friends around me that are actually finding it successful, and they feel like they found the one, and they dating, they calling that person, giving them titles, girlfriend, whatnot, relationship is going good. So let's see if it works out. That's what, you guys are using me as a guinea pig for all of this.
Well, this is what I'll say is, again, we want to hear your feedback about your experience with dating in 2016 versus how it was back in the day. We want to hear your experience about if you agree with our points or disagree with our points, or you think we have valid points, whatever. If you can give us that feedback. And let us know how it is. We will do a recap or a follow up on this topic, because I do think it's interesting. I do think it's something worth noting and seeing the evolution and the change and the the progression of how dating is going to go moving forward. Because as Reddy stated, that as the advent of the internet and all these social media, as well as the applications, Tinder, Bumble, Plenty of Fish.
There's so many more.
Yeah, there's so many more I can't even think of at this time. That it's making the world smaller and smaller. That it allows you to meet a smaller subset of people that you might not have been able to meet, as well as bring in other groups that you might not be able to see at a faster rate in a smaller market than before. So we're gonna see how it works out for Will. Um, Hopefully, regardless of where it goes, I think we'll have some interesting to talk about and some ongoing discussion. And so, again, we would like to get your feedback and hear what you have to say. And again, we'll continue going on with this. Thank you for listening to another Stay Woke podcast. I want to say thank you, a very special thanks to Reddy as well as William for participating in this podcast. And thank you to our listeners. Make sure you check out our Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Tumblr. Thank you. Pages, and give us a like, subscription. Definitely check out TheSonicBreakdown.com and read a review. This is the Stay Woke podcast. This is DeRa Brinson, and we out. Live, love, and listen to some great music, but above all, show some love.